Okay, guten Morgen. I want to go ahead and talk about adjective endings with y'all one more time. I do think we're ready for quiz over this on Friday, so we'll have that live and opened up. 7A has been adjective endings, and then two questions. Wofür interessierst du dich? Wofür interessierst du dich? And worüber sprichst du gern? For those questions, the best way to start your reply, ich interessiere mich für, or ich spreche gern über, for worüber sprichst du gern. You're using the preposition, over here, über. Worüber is asking what about. So in your reply, you want to include it. Ich spreche gern über Mode, fashion, Musik, Sport, Geschichte, das Wetter. Up here we've got wofür, notice, and then we'll want to include that in our reply. Wofür interessierst du dich? Ich interessiere mich für. Again, you could say ballet, or Netflix, or Bücher, anything really, trying to get us using a new phrase that's a little more sophisticated than just was magst du gern would be the question, and then ich spiele gern Fußball. You might say ich interessiere mich für Fußball. Okay, the other big focus has been adjective endings, and I just put together 3 different visuals to look at. But basically, we've got this frying pan shape that we need to worry about. When we add an adjective in front of a noun, in order to do that correctly, we either put an E or an EN on there. This is kind of an afterthought when, if you're not speaking. When you are speaking, it's best, in my opinion, to, unless you know you're using dative, to try guess E if you're not sure. For example, hier ist das weiße Papier. Das weiße Papier. Or das ist der große Stuhl. That is the large chair. Hier ist mein neue Handy. Yeah. Although with mine it would be mein neues Handy. We're going to get into ein words, and those are going to work a little bit different. But for now, if we're just looking at der words, we're either with E or EN. And the basic principle you can remember is, look at this chart down here. Der kleine Mann, die kleine Frau, das kleine Kind. Those are all E in nominative because the der, die, das haven't changed. But when they do change, when it does change, like for example with this one to den, then it gets an EN ending. Notice die, das, those are still E because they didn't change. The exception to that rule of thumb would be the plural. Those all get EN. If you remember all plurals get EN, you're in good shape. And all the datives get EN. Yeah? And it's important to note that these all changed. Dem, der, dem. So, if you are not changing the der, die, das from its usual identifier, then if you're not making a declination shift there, then you don't have to worry about it. Looking at these examples, can you see these? So, we're going to skip one, but I'll just tell you right now. With ein, it's a little bit different. Ich habe ein. We're going to have to use a different chart. And this is going to go to einen alten Hund. And the reason for that is going to make more sense when we get into it. It's accusative. Basically, with the ein words, we have to show the gender of the noun somewhere, and sometimes we don't when we use the word ein. But this one we would have. But let's just skip it for now. Let's see. So der jung blank Mann. Here we're saying der Mann, but we're calling him the young man. And notice we started off with der. That has not changed from what it usually is. Der Mann is der Mann. So it's going to be der junge Mann hat ein neues Haus. This one's interesting. Ein neues Haus. Neu is our adjective, but we're saying a new house. With ein, we don't always know what it's going to be. This is next chapter stuff. But with ein, because we don't know that it's das Haus, from ein, it could be der, it could be das. We show that with the es on the adjective. That's what's different about ein words, but don't worry about that for now. Let's look at 3. Ich sehe das alt blank Haus. It's das Haus here. It's das Haus here. So what do we put on alt? E or en? That's alte Haus. Okay? Here mine is working like an ein word. It's die Frau. Sie kann meine schöne die Blume geben. Sie kann meine schöne Frau die Blumen geben. Or, because she's getting it, sorry, this would be meiner schönen. But that's an ein word, so don't worry about 4. Das ist die neue blank Schule. All right, this one. Die Schule. Die Schule. So it gets an E. Wo ist mein? We're going to skip 6. Neues Deutschbuch. Ist das für? Meinen alten Bruder. Don't worry about that one. Der. All right, so der Hund. Der Hund. So der große Hund. Ich arbeite mit. So this is an ein one. Don't worry about it. Ich habe ein großes Zimmer. This one's going to be ein großes. Yeah, but don't worry about why. Ein kleine Küche. Kannst du meine neue Auto sehen? All right. So 8, 5, 3, and 1. Those do help us show whether we're making our change or not. Another example of that would be like if I'm saying instead of das ist die neue Schule, or here's one, ich sehe das alte Haus. If I'm saying ich sehe and saying I see the old man, der Mann would go to den Mann. So because we made a change to our der word, it would be alt 10. Instead of Altaman, it would be alten Mann. That man would stay Altaman if I'm saying like, ich bin der alte Mann. I am the old man. Ich sehe den alten Mann. Then we've changed our der to den, so we put an en. And that's how all the rest of those work. Good way to remember it. If you change it, then it's en. If you don't, it's e. Study your vocab and be able to answer Wofür interessierst du dich? And I think you'll be all ready. Let me know if you have any questions or if you want anywhere to find more resource for adjective endings. You can also Google, to your heart's content, German adjective endings, der words, and that'll pull up thousands of videos and exercises you can work with. Okay, tschüss.